Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about designing a video game, the portion of the spotted activity at the end. The goals of this particular activity are to further extend the spotted game to more symbols, more cards, and to also hopefully introduce an engaging context in which we are extending the game. So the idea is that you'll be designing this sort of video game, and each of the cards are going to be planets, and each of the colors are now totems. And totems are traditional values that each planet has. Modesty and peacekeeping are some of the examples on here, and there's a whole list of ones from which to choose. Each planet or card is going to have 4 colors or totems, and there'll also be an opportunity to talk about your students designing a character, though I think in the interest of time, Alessandra has decided to omit that portion of this activity. All right, so the first thing that you'll be doing is you'll be kind of analyzing these totems. And so this is a good opportunity to work in some of that culturally responsive teaching, right? So you can ask students what sort of values like on this list and that aren't on this list that you see that your family holds or that your culture holds or that your community holds, right? And then you can also help define some of these terms and have a discussion about them. The idea for the activity is that you have 10 of these pre-selected, and then you're going to have you and your tables pick 3 more because we're going to need 13 totems or 13 colors, I suppose, in total. You can ignore for now the mirror and non-mirror column. That was the extension that I think we're going to skip. You can, if it is still there on the student worksheet when the activity is going on, you can consider it extra bonus at the end if you have time. Okay, so you're going to want to pick 3 more, and sometimes students can come up with some of these. That's perfectly legitimate. Or if there aren't really any ideas floating around, there is this huge list that you will have on hand as a mentor. And it will be shortened to take out the ones that are already on this list. But these are some good ones to maybe throw around if there are no ideas as to how to fill in those last 3. So once you have your traits and once you've discussed these, you're going to move on to actually looking at the planets. So this is essentially building a game of Spot It. So each of these numbers corresponds to one of those totems, and the idea is we want to fill out a game of Spot It. We want to fill out these planets with their totems. And we've already got some of them started. So A, B, C, D, and E have already gotten started. And so we need to fill these out as a team. Now, you're going to need more boxes than are just pictured on the worksheet. So what Alessandra recommended, or what rather Randy recommended, and I think is a really good idea, is to put all your whiteboards down in the middle of the table and have these each be a planet. And I'll tell you right away, you're going to need at least 13. In fact, you'll need exactly 13. I would keep that on the down low until you get towards the end of this activity. And now we can all work together as a table, or maybe as 2 groups, to put these planets together. Now this is an overwhelming, daunting task. There's so many numbers, there's so many boxes, there's so many possibilities. How do we even begin? Well, just kind of like a game of Sudoku, let's just focus on one particular square, maybe the square that seems easier to fill out, and let's just kind of use the rules that we've developed and we've understood for Spot It to fill in that square. So I've decided to focus on this square. It has 1 empty spot, so it should be okay to fill out. All right, so what are the rules that we can use to fill out that question mark box? Well, we know that if I choose 2 cards, they have exactly 1 common totem, rule A1, and A2, for any 2 totems, there is 1 and only 1 card containing both. I mean, I think even just like using A2 can be really productive for this one. So because I know that any 2 totems, there's 1 and only 1 card containing both, let's say I focus on the 2 here. Okay, now because in this card, 2 and 1 appear here, this is the only card in which 2 and 1 appear together. So I know that 1 cannot be an entry for this missing entry. That does not work. Okay, so 1 doesn't work. Neither is 3 or 4 because they also came from this box. And then 5 doesn't work because 2 and 5 appear in this box. 2 and 6, well, 6 is already in this box. We can't have duplicate entries. 7, I don't see a 2 and a 7 in the same box anywhere, so 7's a possibility. So let's just write that down. Let's keep track of our possibilities. So maybe 7 could go here. 8 can't because there's that box there. 9 is already in the box. 10, got a box there with the 2 and the 10, so that's no good. 11, right there, 2 and 11. 12, I don't see a 2 and a 12, so 12 is another possibility. And 13, well, there's 2 and 13 right there. Okay, so already, just from using one rule, looking at one number, we've narrowed it down significantly down to these two. Now, if you do this same game with 6 and with 9, you'll eventually be able to narrow it down to the correct answer. So this is going to really be using all those rules and tools and intuition that we built for Spot It. For this particular entry, I believe the answer is going to actually end up being 12. So double check that. Hint, look at this box right here. And play around with this a little bit because it's really overwhelming and confusing at first. But if you can get used to it and you can get used to the moves that are required to fill in these boxes, then it makes it a lot easier to explain it to the students.